Hello. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Cardboard.Capitan, and this is the deck I played for Historic, the Qualifier weekend. It's the weekend you get top 250, you're invited to this tournament. I don't normally play Historic, but, um, when I was researching the format, at first I wanted to play Wizards, but then someone said Wizards wasn't too great. Um, and then I came upon this. Originally there was a Esper deck that I wanted to play that's kind of plays off most of these cards, but I just didn't have enough wild cards. So, in researching this, I was inspired by Modern and other formats with the Froculus deck, and the basic idea behind those is that um, you get discard outlets like Psychic Frog, Consider, etc., to put Oculus in your graveyard, and you cheat it out with Unearth. Now, unfortunately, um, Historic doesn't have as good of counter spells as older formats. Older formats have Flare of Denial, counterspell itself, but so I went with a more aggressive approach. Looking back, after I played my games, Tainted Indulgence doesn't work that well. Grave Expectations doesn't work that well. Deluge, I got some mileage out of that. But a lot of the creatures, for one, they're centered around the 2 casting costs, so I'd like to spread that out more. And for 2, I'd like to have less investment creatures, and what I mean by investment, like you're dedicating resources, whether it be tempo, whether it be cards themselves through discard, or from playing multiple cards. Just because they can die pretty easily, so I'd rather have some cards that are just like, hey, I'm gonna play them, opponent, you must answer them or die. Besides that, Grave Expectations. Now, I was expecting a lot more reason to remove graveyards, but I didn't see too much. And Heist, I love Heist. I'm an Alchemy player at heart, but Heist is a very random mechanic, and considering the shortness of a lot of these games, Heist is going to have a very large pool of cards that can be taken from the opponent. So, a lot more randomness than I'd like to deal with. Not too much to talk about here. Just ways of getting the Oculus into the graveyard, rebirth it or revive it. Hand control, board control, more creature control, etc. Lands, nothing too exciting. I mean, Prismatic Vista, it's one of the few ways you can trigger Revolt on demand with Fatal Push, so I think that's worth mentioning. Sideboard, Surgical, Stone of Erek. Anyway, this is the one card I never sideboarded in. I was expecting a lot more creature-based decks like, the Dajani deck, Cauldron Familiar, and so on, but I didn't see any of them at all. So, maybe good, maybe not good. Stern Scolding, yeah, definitely keep. Spell Pierce, saved my behind. Mystical Dispute. I don't know if it's too narrow considering that it only works versus blue spells. I believe I only fought one deck where I sideboarded this in and I didn't even draw it, so Feed the Swarm. I didn't see as many enchantments as I'd wanted to, but this is removal anyway. Might be better off as like Some that doesn't deplete your life points. Flute was good for Soren. I played one of those this tournament. And I tried to put it in versus Karn, but Karn got out before I could bring out my flute. So yeah, and Borrower. Maybe I should have more of these in there, but anyway. Enough yapping. Let's get to the gameplay. All right, let's go. First match. Let's see. Opponent goes first. Decent hand, I'd say, because I can turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Ledge Shredder. Go from there. Okay. Arena of Glory. Probably some sort of aggro deck. Thoughtseize. And this is the cycling deck. It came about with like a marauding Mako, but the basic idea is you play cards that benefit from cycling. So I chose Mako there because I figured, okay, they can play that and then start growing it out of control with faceless looting. And I don't have any pushes in my hand, so. So drops a root Walla from the Manus. Then Prismatic Vista, I guess that's just to thin out their deck. So I've got 2 Ledge Shredders, and they're gonna start growing pretty rapidly. Right now, I'm not too concerned about what's in the opponent's hand. Especially now, because now my Shredder is gonna get larger. Does have a Phoenix. Now, I can't really block here. For one, the Adept, the Flame Blade Adept has Menace, and the Root Walla. I'm okay with trading, at least. Because that means they'll lose a creature, but they'll also won't be able to play the creature they have in hand. Well, they could, but I guess they chose not to. But no big. I need to start putting power on the board, though. Deluge is nice. Opponent has a lot of looting in the graveyard, but that's gonna likely take up their turn. So they won't have threats on the board while I do have Shredder. There's my push. So that's a great find. There's an Enthusiast. So I'm not too concerned about what my opponent's going to play because I do have the Deluge if I need to wipe out all their creatures, and that'll keep my Shredder alive. I also have Fatal Push if they want to commit to using the Phoenix on one of their creatures. So yeah, they brought their Phoenix out on their Enthusiast. I'm not too sold on the Dark Slick Shores because those are going to come into play tapped. But I also value my life here. Okay. Okay, so they get their Phoenix. No, not too big of a deal. Thoughtseize, they only have one card in hand, so let me discard that. There's an Oculus in the graveyard, so all I need is a revival spell now. Depending on how this plays out, I can Deluge next turn. Now, I'm gonna take 3. Okay. Still in. Okay, Grave Expectations. So that's good because I can gain life. So I'm pulling out Faceless Looting because it has flashback, but I also want to gain 3 life here. There is a push, that's again a great find. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of the Prankster. Still don't want to attack. I'm waiting on my Unearth. Or at least another Oculus so I can play it. There it is. There it is. So now I can just focus on growing my creatures and staying alive. Deluge. I already have a big creature now. And even though this Adept is getting bigger, it falls to the push. So push it out, I shall. And then let's go. Unearth. And then I get second Unearth, which is a good find. It's looking like this is closing out the game. Right now I just want to get more flyers. Just so I can block any potential hasted attempts they got. Because they do have Arena of Glory. Which they can use to have a surprise attack. So, but it's looking like first game is going to be mine. Okay. Ravager. Give it to the Phoenix. Okay. I'm pretty set on lands, and I don't want to lose 1 life from those lands. Deluge also requires life, so I'm getting rid of that. So the question is, what do I block here? I'm gonna make a trade here. Now I can always pull another Unearth, so losing the Oculus is not too big of a deal. Yeah. Let's go. So there's a swamp I would need for the Unearth. And then I just gotta dig through for it. There's an Oculus that I can cast next turn. We start swinging in. I think the only thing I really have to worry about at this point is less the creatures and more fiery tempers, because, well, he'd need 3. But I just need to be aware of that. Okay. Oliphant. And then, okay, Raucous Theater. That was kind of unexpected. I don't know why the opponent's running black at this point, but shall see. Perhaps a splash for Fatal Push. Not too familiar with this archetype, but I do know that it usually runs the hollowed one, and that gets cost reduction based on the number of cards they cycle that turn. And I'm surprised I haven't seen it yet, so maybe they didn't draw it, maybe they don't run it. No. Okay, there's Exert. FOMO with haste. Oh, there's a hollowed one. Okay. The hollow, not hollowed. So at this point, Psychic Frog, I mean, I don't really need cards at this point, I just need to win. Push is good. Kind of sad about discarding Oculus, but no, when you want to win the game, you want to win the game. Okay. So, probably don't need a block there, but just paranoid, I guess. Oculus off the top. Let me play that first. And when you're Oculusing, you want to get your lands first. Let's see. I want a Fatal Push here, just in case I don't win this turn. I don't know, wait, do I have enough power to win? So that's what, 10, 12, 14, 16? The 16 power. I'm gonna hold one back just in case the opponent removes one. Okay, so let's see what opponent fiery tempers. Fiery tempers me. Okay. My shredders get larger. Alright. That's exactly why I held 2 creatures back. Alright. Game 1 goes to me. Alright, as far as this game goes, let me see how I sideboard. I remember being scared of Fiery Temper, so Surgical Extraction would have been a good choice. Stern Scolding, definitely a lot of lower coster creatures that are worth countering. Thoughtseize, not too much value there. But yeah, so Extractions in, Scoldings in, Thoughtseize out. I think that's good to go. And okay, yeah, I was considering Disruptor Flute here because it does work with cycling. But, you know, what would I Disruptor Flute? So now in other news, first game I already get the white menu bar of doom. I don't know, that's just a glitch with Magic Arena. I hate it. It only comes up when you're sideboarding. Please fix your program, Wizards of the Coast. No lands, no lands. Terrible, terrible. But much better hand. You know, depending on how it goes, perfect. So Fatal Push turn 1, Psychic Frog turn 2, and then discard Oculus and then Unearthed turn 3. So definitely have options. I also have Extraction now, which I can use life to pay. If there's some that I absolutely never want to see again in the graveyard. So, for example, maybe looting here. Okay. Madness on the Root Walla. Then there is a hollowed one. So a lot of power on the board during their turn too. I don't think I have enough to swing in with my frog just yet, but it does enable me to bring in or attempt to bring in the Oculus. Let's see if it goes through. My opponent was prepared, unfortunately. So there goes my Oculus. See. A Picklock Prankster is going to put cards in the graveyard, which at the very least is good for being able to give Frog flying. Let me see if no instance or sorcery is terrible. So let's see. There's my 3 to give it flying. A land, unfortunately. Okay, let me take my 5. Alright. Another land. Okay, so I do have Unearth, but at this point, what do I have to Unearth? So if I try to erase the opponent here, they have 5 power on their board, possibly more. Alright. I'm gonna play it safe and just not pay life here. So I go ahead and surgical extraction, faithless looting. You know, looking back, I don't know if that was the right play. Maybe I should have dropped a prankster just so I could block. But I do have Frog to block anyway. The only thing is they also have the Phoenix, which they can use to, I believe it gives one of their creatures menace. No, just flying and haste. Yeah, but it also gives a creature +2/+2. So yeah, bestow the hallowed one. Got a 6/6 flying. I can only make my frog like a 4/5 flying right now. So at the very least, I can start putting creatures down to block. And I'm gonna be looking for that card, so that's why I'm gonna give the frog flying, just so they can block with the root walla. So let's see if frog can get there, huh? Okay, nope. Tainted indulgence isn't what I wanted. So yeah, to the bin with you. So at the very least, Ledger Shredder is out of root walla range, because they can make their root walla 3/1. The prankster that can chump the hollow one. And if they choose to attack, I can get a hit in with frog again and see if I can draw anything nice. Okay. FOMO comes in. And there's a Pyre Temper. Yeah, Stern Scolding's not gonna answer the... I forget the name of the card in their hand. That their card in hand is 3/3, so... Let's see, do I get anything off the Free the Fae? I get an Earth, which is a great find. Let's see, what do I choose to unearth? A Ledger Shredder, huh? Oh boy, Fatal Push. Okay, let me push out the FOMO because could potentially have some swing in 2 times. Exile, exile, exile. And let's see what the frog can get. Another unearth, okay. So yeah, I have lethal next turn. They also have lethal on my turn. If they have Fiery Temper, I just lose. If they have someone with haste and more than 2 power, I lose also. So, close game, I'd say. Oliphant. Okay, Phoenix. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Another surgical. The question is, I have an unearth. What do I unearth? I think the only one is Ledger Shredder. So like I'm in deep thought, but I think the play here, looking back, is unearth the Ledger Shredder, then extraction their fiery temper, and then drop the picklock prankster. I can't talk, man. But let me see. I want to draw here first. Opponents considering the blocks. So I think here, probably should have kept that island. But at the same time, I was worried about the fiery temper. Because if I kept the island, I could have dropped the picklock prankster. And, you know, if the opponent doesn't draw a mountain here, they can't activate their bugbear. So, yeah. So maybe it was misplay. Maybe I didn't think about the odds too much there. You know, because it's more likely they draw a mountain there because it's more likely they draw a mountain there than the fiery temper itself. So maybe it was a misplay on my part. But, you know, I have game 3. I have 61 cards. Then I side out 1 Tainted Indulgence. I think the cheap counter spells here are better on the play, just because you'll usually have the +1 land over your opponent. So I can do my game plan while still having mana to disrupt the opponent's game plan. Not the best hand because no islands, but this one is much better. I have the frog, I have the Oculus, I have the Unearth. All you need. And what's nice about the Spell Pierce is it's gonna help get around surgical extraction. Oh, that's some I don't like about these older formats is surgical extraction because it's just like a free remove from the graveyard effect. So this is looking like a repeat of game 2, but I'm ready this turn. Now the thing is, I want to discard during my turn so that if they extraction, I can counter that. I have the mana to Spell Pierce, because if I do it now, I have no untapped mana. So, okay, opponent chooses not to attack. Okay. See how this goes. There goes my Oculus. I'm gonna attempt to unearth it. Oh. So, fortunately, no not spell, no surgical extraction from the opponent, so I'm happy. I'm gonna make it 3-4. I have the push now. I can start putting creatures on the board. Okay. Opponent swings in. I probably should have attempted to block there. But I figured the opponent's gonna swing in and fiery temper, so I don't. Yeah, they could have cycled if I blocked with the Oculus, but I figured fiery temper was most likely choice. But let's go to game 2. Okay, game 2. Let's go. I go first. No lands, much better hand. Now I'm finding Tainted Indulgence not to be that great of a card for my game plan, at least. So, yeah, that's why I mulligan to the bottom. Okay, so Inspector. I'm expecting some sort of Convoke deck. So here, if they're going wide, I want to get a Deluge. Yeah, definitely some sort of Convoke deck. Okay, so let me mill. Unfortunately, no Oculuses hit the graveyard. But I do get Consider, so I'm gonna dig heavily this turn. Sink into Stupor. Okay, so Ledger Shredder in the graveyard means I can unearth next turn. But, I'll put it in hand. There's a Rebirth. And then they're Convoking. Psychic Frog's gonna have a hard time swinging through. I think right now at this point I need... Let me draw my Toxic Deluge. Fortunately, opponents taking their time. Just, widening their board. There's the Oculus. The Oculus. So unfortunately, I discarded Psychic Froglex last turn, but I do have Ledger Shredder, and I can also hardcast Oculus. So I think what I'm looking at is hardcast Oculus plus Unearth Summon, but I don't have enough lands to do both right now. So I bring back Frog, and having Unearth in the graveyard is gonna let me collect evidence for the Oculus. I figure I swing in because I'll get another blocker. I don't want to reveal that I have grave expectations just yet. Opponent seen unearthed, so that's why I took that course of action. Think opponent's just gonna dirtle and... Oh, there's a rebirth, okay. Guess opponent's trying to kill me in one turn, but they don't know about the deluge just yet. Okay. There's a bushwhacker, so okay, I gotta be ready next turn. Okay, so they play bushwhacker unkicked. Opponent's committed heavily to the board. See? Maybe they're considering swinging it in. Or further pumping up their warden. Not too sure there. Okay. All he can do at this point is just dig for a board wipe. Beautiful. There's a deluge. Let me let me survive this coming turn. I don't need to swing in because if the opponent doesn't have like some sort of way to increase their creature's attack power right now, I should be okay. I'm gonna swing in with Oculus because I do already have some good defensive creatures. Let's see. Opponents in deep thought too. Okay, Bushwhacker comes in kicked. Let's see. There's a swing in. Alright. Fortunately, a lot of their creatures are just 2/1s. So even though I can block, I can trade. And if I can block and survive, then I win. That's 14. Yeah, opponent got too impatient, but then again, I did have Toxic Deluge next turn. So they needed to deplete my life points. Borrower comes in, Scolding comes in. I think Thoughtseize isn't good for this deck. Let's see how I sideboard. Yeah, take out the Thoughtseize. Grave Expectations. Okay. So Spell Pierce is gonna potentially help out with the Rebirth. I believe that was the only non-creature spell I saw. But it's a big one. And Scolding counters a lot of their stuff. So I've got the push now. There's a Spell Pierce. I'm ready. Locked in. There you go. Gleeful Demolition. You can't pay the 2. Okay, so much smaller board this time. I think the play here is to hardcast the Oculus. The opponents just got piddly creatures. Oh, they have a Loxodon. Whoops. That's alright. Okay, none too exciting from the graveyard. I can push twice at least. So yeah, I want to have some that can block at least. The opponent's in deep thought once more. Bushwhacker. So kind of glad I had to block her there, because if I didn't, let's see, that's 2, 7, 10, 13, 16. Opponent's gonna swing out with most of their creatures. Alright. Let's see. 2 pushes now. I also have the Oculus I can play. I'm not too sure what's that one card in the opponent's hand. Hopefully it's not some that's gonna buff up their creatures. Yeah, I want to keep that Ledger Shredder in the graveyard in case getting unearthed. Second Oculus, so hype. Okay. Knight Captain, not too worried about it. And they have a Warden, but I also have 2 pushes. Let's see. Pierce is pretty trash draw right now. I mean, I doubt they're gonna get another like, even if they can sacrifice one of the creature and make goblins, they can likely pay for it. I don't want to show the scolding. I think the game plan here is just to play defensively. I can probably win in one turn if I flip over both Oculi to have Fatal Push if I'm worried about anything. Yet another Knight Errant. So I think a cool game plan here is to go for the Toxic Deluge. And I can pay 4 life to wipe out their board while having my Oculus. But first I need to draw that Deluge. Let's see. Ah, beautiful. There's a Toxic Deluge. You know, and going that course of plan, I'll lose a face down Oculus, but opponent will have no board. So I see a haste creature in their hand, so that's why I want to swing in. I mean, there's a chance they remove the Oculus with a shock or something, but I didn't see it first game, so I figure it's worth the risk. Okay, so the opponent just gives up. Yeah, no. Yeah. The Deluge pretty much sealed the game for them, so let's go to game 3. So yeah, let's go to game 3. Okay, opponent goes first. As far as this hand goes, Thoughtseize in your opening hand is always a welcome sorcery. But otherwise, like, no offensive threat. So, see how this goes. I do have Tainted Indulgence too, so I can draw into, you know, like Frog or Oculus. Let's see. And I got a hard choice here because they have Overlord and they have Psychic Frog. So I think the pick here is Overlord, because if I pick Frog, then they can just Overlord it back. In a way, Overlord is like a draw 5 for them. I also see a Saint Linda. So they can... I don't know if there's like a cheap reanimation spell for it, but I do know that they have Sorin to just put into play. So I gotta look out for that. Opponent drops the frog. And I'm gonna just end my turn. I have plans on playing a Tainted Indulgence end of their turn. Alright. So I'm gonna drop the Shredder. I could have played Consider there. But I think I was expecting like some sort of reanimation effect. So I wanted to be able to grave expectations there. The opponent goes full greed with the frog, so even though Deluge normally wouldn't be good in this deck or versus this deck, because of the opponent's play choices, I can 2-for-1 their frogs. So I do just that. And I want to do it in such a way that they can't discard to put the frogs out of the range of removal. So since they have 3 cards in hand, they can make their frogs a 4/5. Or make a frog 4/5. So I'm okay with paying the extra life here, because for one, I can gain life from the grave expectations, and for two, not too worried about that. Okay, so I get Consider. At this point, them hard casting Saint Delinda is a very real threat. Oh, here goes my frog. I do have a Fell the Profane for their Alinda. They're gonna Thoughtseize? Okay. I don't need to respond here with grave expectations. Figured they're gonna take the Fell for the Saint Delinda. So there's another Deluge. I'm a bit worried about investing in the frog here, because they can remove it pretty easily. I've seen push, and there's likely other removal. 3 unearths. Okay. Let's see. I probably should discard some cards here. So discard extra land. Maybe you should discard Deluge there also. But I take the long way, huh? Okay. Opponent hasn't seen my push, I believe, yet. So. Okay. I don't think I have lethal this turn. Well, 7, 5, and 2? That's only 14. And I figured, okay, opponent can either remove the frog or the Oculus. So I'm gonna invest a bit more. And I draw my push. I'm not expecting a board wipe. Okay, hard cast the Alinda. So there's the feathers on the Alinda. Or feathers on the frog. The frog has been sufficiently clogged. Okay. So here I'm gonna try to win in this turn. As well as garner information about their deck. There's a beloved doll maker. So doll maker and Balemark is a combo. There's a Sorin. I mean, they didn't use Sorin to bring in their Alinda in play, but that's something I can look out for future games. I just don't want them gaining life. So swing. I'm gonna deal 6. I'm also gonna gain 5 life. And there is another Oculus. Okay. I really want to keep that Sorin healthy, even though I have another one in my exile zone. And opponent drops another Saint Alinda. So they can take the face up Oculus and gain some life. They don't know about my face down Oculus. So let me see what I can ice. Okay. Oculus number 2. I'm a Thoughtseize. I probably should have did that before flipping up, but another Saint Alinda. Why? Why? And now that I'm looking back, what I could have done is, I believe Soren's ability turns a creature into a vampire. So I could have swung in and then sacrificed it for some damage. But opponent gives up. Let's go to game 2. So I know they're playing some sort of Sorin to cheat Saint Alinda in play. Those decks usually also run Vein Ripper as an option, so definitely some Spell Pierce, some Borrowers in case they cheat it out. But Disruptor Flute would also be good here for the Sorin. As far as what to take out, I thought about taking out the Fatal Pushes, but I do need to keep in mind they also run Frog, so I should keep some at least. Painted Indulgence. Now, looking back, I keep taking it out, so once this thing's said and done, I'm probably going to take it out. Oculus, I put to 3. I'm definitely expecting some sort of graveyard hate, and I'm expecting Rest in Peace specifically, and that counters both cheating the Oculus out with Unearth, as well as a normal way of just casting and collecting evidence. So let's see how the opponent plays it out, what they sideboard in, and how it's going to affect my game plan. Okay. Thoughtseize. So they know I have the flute for Soren. Fatal Push getting to the graveyard. You know, they might have a frog that they want to swing in with. Okay, there's their frog. Well, I see your frog. And I'm a bit worried about Soren. So that's why I didn't play my frog there. So at the very least, I mean, I could proactively play it on my turn. Or I should have played the Disruptor Flute they knew about. I don't know if that affects anything, but let me just type in Soren real quick. So I don't have to worry about like a turn 3 Vein Ripper or a turn 3 Saint Alinda. They're gonna keep drawing cards here. There is a Doll Maker, okay. It's getting dire now. I'm behind on lands. Opponent's also behind on lands, but they have their board position. Consider. Okay, Darkslick Shores, decent. Desperation Heist. Okay. I got a frog. If they want to push my frog, I got Spell Pierce. But they can make the frog much bigger than I can deal with. They also have the Avatar token. What avenue of play will you choose, opponent? Okay, so Emperor of Bones. And the more I see of this deck, this was actually a deck I wanted to play. It's an Esper deck. Emperor of Bones. I believe there's some versions that run Oculus also. But there's a card that discards and then you seek um a card with the same type, or I believe the same mana cost, something like that. And what it does is basically turns Psychic Frog into a way that grows, and then you can always seek a card. But this isn't looking too good for me. I mean, I believe I did take out the Deluges. Let's see. Well, extraction sucks. I'll heist. I mean, if I get some decent. I gotta push, got a prismatic ending. Push is gonna answer one frog at least. Okay, extraction on the push. My opponent doesn't know about the push in my exile zone. 12 Pierce wouldn't do anything here because they can just pay the 2/2. Who also? Okay, so they got the Swamp Troll. Yeah. So I guess I thought that the Avatar token had a like a mana value of 0, but a block here, they're investing into their frog, and they feel safe because they extractioned out all my pushes, but no, I took yours. So I mean, I could discard here, force them to discard. Let's see, I wonder what extraction here. Diviner Fates, that's the card I was talking about. You discard, it works with Psychic Frog. And they do have it in hand, so, that's a good find for me. Not sure why they played it pre-combat, though, or didn't play it pre-combat. I got junk in my hand. Alright, at the very least, I'm going first this time, so Scolding works. Scolding's gonna answer Frog, it's gonna answer Dollmaker. I didn't see any graveyard removal either, so I think going back to the game plan of Oculus works. Why am I sideboarding why am I sideboarding the way I'm sideboarding? Yeah. I took out Unearth. I did see Surgical Extraction last turn. Okay. Yeah, so I think that's why I took out Unearth. So I figured, okay, I'm better off just playing the Oculus fairly. I think keeping Grave Expectations main board was also a mistake there. Maybe I should have put in Spell Pierce. Oh, we'll see. So, good hand, a lot of answers, plus I have Ledge Shredder. Drop the Takenuma. In case I need to push anything. Get him with a Thoughtseize, unfortunately. But I'm just gonna heist. That's the alchemy player in me. I like to heist. I got the Thoughtseize for the opponent. So if they pull the flute, I can disrupt their combo also. But let's see what the opponent takes. I think this is the first time opponent's seeing Ledge Shredder also. But yeah, they do take it. So opponent likely doesn't have a fatal push or an answer to that card. Let's see. Sorin, I have an answer to Emperor of Bones. And Dollmaker. So I'm gonna take the Emperor of Bones here, I believe. Just because they don't have any good Dollmaker targets, and I have the flute for their Sorin. Push might have been a mistake, because I do have two. I'm gonna drop the flute now. Trying to coax out some creatures. There goes Overlord. That's gonna combo with their Dollmaker next turn. I do have Sink into Stupor, so I can at least delay that. Okay, Fell the Profane. Even if I synced into Stupor there, opponent could just replay their Dollmaker. Frog. Okay, I have an answer for that. So, bouncing the Avatar token into the void. I'm not getting a swamp or an island, unfortunately. I do want to get rid of that Emperor of Bones. I'm not too worried about push there. I want to get rid of that frog ASAP too. The opponent's got 2 dead cards in hand right now, but the opponent does have Dollmaker. I'm gonna keep the Vista for 1. It's a source of revolt for the push, and for 2, it's a way of getting those verges. See. Okay, Picklock Prankster, good find. Is there anything I want to surgical though? Not really, huh? Right now I feel like, okay, they have Fatal Push, but there goes my Inquisition. So yeah, let me take care of this Dollmaker now. Picklock's the better choice there. Okay, consider off top. More lands, huh? More lands. Mana Flood, but I do have Stern Scolding. I see. I have a very slow clock on the opponent. I need to get like another creature value now. While I could play the Borrower, I think it has better usage here as a bounce spell. So, alright. The Scolding is gonna answer the Emperor of Bones. They might get back. Let's see what they get back. Emperor of Bones. There's a frog. The frog has been unclogged. Let me swing in. Yeah, play the frog. I think what I was considering, bound for the Borrower and then play the like play it from the adventure. So this point, not a lot of answers, unfortunately. And they can just get their Emperor back. They get their Saint Delenda because they're about able to cast it anyway, so it's like, where are my creatures at? Where are my Ledger Shredders? Where's my Oculi? Where's my Pressure? You know? And I did get kind of mana screwed also. I mean, I've got significantly. Oh, there's Ledger Shredder. Nice timing. I did get significantly more black mana. I think the game plan I was thinking of here. Okay, let me mill him out by letting him swing in with Overlord a bunch of times. So there's Prismatic Ending on the flute. There's a Soren. There's the Saint Delinda. I hate my life, right? I think that's gonna be game for me also. I think I'm gonna just go see what I draw. Tainted Indulgence. No, that's not gonna do anything. Yeah. Alright, so right now, 2-1. 2-1. Let's go to game 4. Okay, so yeah, 2 Thoughtseize, Psychic Frog, Unearth. But opponent goes first, so. And it's green, probably some sort of elves, Utopia Sprawl, some sort of devotion deck. Fortunately, I do have 2 Thoughtseize. Okay, so they do have a Nykthos, but they also have an old growth troll. There's the Kiora. Okay, I got the Oculus. So the frog comes into play. Next turn, I can bring in Oculus through Unearth. I don't know if they had anything worth discarding with Thoughtseize. But, you know, they got a lot of card draw now. And their Nykthos is also coming down next turn. That I gotta look out for. A Elvish Mystic. And then they play a Karn. Let's see what they Karn out. What they Karn do. And they get a Seascape Leveler. So I believe even though I can Thoughtseize that the leveler has Unearth. Yeah, I definitely played that greedy. I should have grave expectationed their play. That's a play mistake on my part. Let me swing in Let's see. They definitely have enough to play that leveler. They're gonna play their Trailblazer first. That's one, that's two. Okay, yeah. Green, untap. They have just enough to play it. So it comes into play, it's gonna tokenize one of my creatures, probably that Oculus. Gonna swing in for 12. I'm gonna just be at 1. I mean, they lose the leveler. I'm gonna have some creatures. If I flip this this over, fortunately I'm able to use the Power Stone token to do so. Deluge is not going to do much here because I don't even have the life to pay for it. Well, I think, misplaying earlier, that kind of hurt. I think now opponent has enough mana to play whatever they want. There's a troll, 3 devotion plus 3 devotion, 2 cards. Another old growth troll. And it sucks because they have trampling, so. There's Storm. Okay, Cavalier of Thorns. Now my Oculus can't swing in. I think at this point I'm just getting information about the opponent's deck. Seeing what they play. Gaia's Blessing, I don't know if that's part of standard green devotion, but I think it's a little unusual. Karn, okay. Kind of want to see what they get. They get a Chroma's Memorial. That's going to give everything haste. So, alright, go to game 2. Yeah, even though push is good against their elves, it's not going to win the game. I think this go around, I need to be full aggressive. I have Flute for the Karn. I have Borrower for creatures. then feed the swarm. Removal if I needed. Okay. Let's see how this goes. Okay, opponent has the exact same turn one. I'm gonna drop my frog. Up the beanstalk. Elvish Mist. Another frog. Give the opponent blocks. Alright. I'm gonna make it a bit stronger. Okay. Right now I'm just jamming power. I mean, I can picklock Prankster this coming turn. Hopefully get an Unearth. Okay. Outcaster Trailblazer. Alright. See. Thoughtseize first off. Definitely want to get rid of that Karn. Yeah, since I don't have the Oculi in the graveyard anymore, I don't think it's worth going for Unearth. Alright. So opponent can get Nykthos also. There's an old growth troll. Fortunately it doesn't have reach. Storm the festival. And say it's a miss for them. Okay, 5. I can swing in for 9 right now. I think that's what I'm gonna do. That's 6. That's 8. And I can give them both flying. Unless the opponent has more than 10 damage they can deal this coming turn, I should be alright. Let's see. Okay, I've got a borrower, I've got an indulgence. Storm the festival. Okay, Cavalier of Thorns means that, well, I can always bounce with my Brazen Borrower. That's not too big of a deal. At 14, 15, 16. Karn. And then what are they gonna get? They get Portal to Pyrexia, so that's heartbreaking. 1 life point, they're gonna blow up my board, huh? And I can't even use Tainted Indulgence for a counterspell. So I think this one's just like a bad matchup. I don't really think there's any way I could play better. I mean, I misplayed first round. But this game, I mean, I'm rewatching where I could have gotten that extra point in, so. Let's see what I draw at least, or I can at least Tainted Indulgence end of their turn. See if I get anything. I can't even Brazen Borrower at the end of their turn. That sucks. There's the Oculus. Yeah, I can't win this one. Alright. Alright. It's do or die time, but at the very least, my opponent is named Kiwi Bukaki. Bukake? Um, I like anime. I like manga. So I find this name funny. Um, so turn 2 frog, always a good play. Not sure what the opponent's playing just yet. Okay, Strike Proctor. So it's some sort of Lotus field deck. Um, for sure. So swing in. We'll play this one kind of aggressive. Invest some cards in hand into making it bigger. Because I draw lands anyway. So Lead Shredder. There's a Lotus Field. So they just got a big boost to their available mana. See. What you doing during my turn? Exiles my Psychic Frog. And then the opponent does it during my turn because the land's gonna come into play tapped. Okay. So yeah, Thoughtseize is good fun. Figure the Null Drifter. Not too sure. I want to say Strict Proctor. If you were to evoke that Null Drifter, you wouldn't have to sacrifice it. So I'm not totally familiar with this Jeskai Lotus Field deck though. So felt like the right play at least. Thoughtseize. Fine for I need to get some power on the board for sure. At the very least, opponent's drawing cards, but that means they're not okay. Now I get to push for it. That's good. Just going all in right now. There's the Purge. And what's interesting about Purge, it's gonna affect both the adventure cost and the regular cost. So handy dandy heist. I guess this is more of a protective heist. So if I do play my creatures again, they can't purge them. Kind of flopping around trying to get my creatures back into play. Fragment. Delete some stuff. So yeah, while this video is going on, I got like a message. Oh, your hard drive's pretty much full. So let me go delete some stuff while I'm watching this. Alright, that should be okay now. Yeah, so I've got an Oculus, but the opponent has an Old Drifter. Thing is, the Null Drifter has Annihilator. So it's gonna slowly eat away at stuff. And there's another Divine Purge. Ah. So there, I'm a little confused about that Unearth. It says it enters into play untapped or play tapped, but Unearth is a sorcery, so I'm not sure what happened there. I mean, I don't. I have the Oculus. I can unearth. A cycles, then doorkeeper roll. Uh, this deck counters this hard. Like, not just Divine Purge, but all the removal, all the counters, the triggers, and so on. So I think this game one's done. Um, let's see. Really, the only thing I see Push working on is that Stern Proctor. I bring in Dispute for the first time though. Since I did see counter spells, I did see plenty of blue spells. Alright, let's see if Kiwi Bukaki can finish me off. I just think that name's hilarious. I mean, I don't mind losing too. Kiwi Bukake. Alright, so opening hand, Thoughtseize. I have no removal. Strict Proctor is gonna set a lot of their stuff off, so. Well, I do have Feed the Swarm. So maybe I should have done something else. They have another Strict Proctor, so. It's good I took it out then. Alright. Nothing too good worth heisting, but I got Lorien thinking I can island cycle with it. Got nothing I can unearth. Yeah, see, I was trying to island cycle there, but no lands, dead cards in hand, desperation, the very rare desperation unearth cycle. Tajik? Anyway, the indestructible one, so. And at least I can bring out Oculus this time. Let's see what my opponent does. Wrath of the Skies. So all my creatures get wiped out and they have Tajik. I think it's just time to pack it up, huh? But I'm gonna play it out. I think realistically I only have one turn. So I couldn't play Oculus barely there if I wanted to. Prismatic Ending. And 2 more Prismatic Endings. Yeah, I think I'm about done here. So, yeah, I don't even show the concession. Alright, let's go to the wrap-ups. Yeah, I think with the deck I played, I just need like a good other finisher in addition to Oculus. I was looking at Razor Demon as an option, but it's a bit harder to play because it's not good if he cast it, but it's decent if he can cheat it out. But I'm looking for something else that's less reliant on the unearthed game plan, so I'll take a look at it. I don't know if it's worth exploring, but Froculus is Froculus, right? So, with that said, if you do enjoy the content, you can find me on X under the username Cardboard.Capitan, my Mox field where you can find this deck and others under the username Cardboard.Capitan. And if you do comment, do subscribe. I will see you all next time. Bye!